Hey guys, welcome back to Sprue Therapy. So today I'm going to be doing a post-build review of this, the Tamiya 172 Focke Wulf FW190 A3. Now this is in 172 scale and there are 3 different versions you could build. And I built this one because I really like the eagle on the front, purely for aesthetic reasons. It looks pretty cool, I think. So I'm just going to go over the kit, any issues I had, and just mention about some painting, that kind of stuff. And here is the completed kit. Let me just zoom you guys in. So yeah, here she is, all completed. So I'm just going to talk about the build. It being a Tamiya and a fairly modern Tamiya, it went together really well. So the only issue I had with the build was this nose cowling section here, and for some reason I just couldn't get at the top part here, I just couldn't get the seam sorted out for some reason. I used putty and everything, and no matter how much putty and sanding I did, so I used this Deluxe Materials Perfect plastic putty. Yeah, no matter how much sanding I did, and if you'd actually look, I just couldn't get rid of that seam. You can see that there, just about where the light is right now. I sanded and I sanded and I sanded and I puttied to the point where actually you can see that I've sort of worn away the plastic to such a degree where it's changed the shape of that nose there. I mean, you can't really see it unless you actually look for it, but it kind of bothers me a bit. But then this is only my 7th kit, so I'm not going to be too hard on myself. I say 7th kit, and what I mean is I did some modelling about 10 years ago. I made one model which was a BSG Viper, the newer version, but before that I kind of had kits here and there. I never completed anything. I started many, completed none, and in the last 6 weeks I've completed 7 kits start to finish. So I'm kind of, maybe it's my age, I'm at the age now where I've got a lot more patience and a lot more time to actually sit down and you know, get a kit completed. Let's talk about the rest of it then. So yeah, putting the kit together was really easy. No real hiccups other than that front cowl issue. Interestingly, I've got a couple of other Focke Wulf 190 kits. I've got the 148 version in the same colour scheme, which I haven't built yet, and let me just show you how they deal with the cowling. It's a lot different. So just pop that out the way. So this is the 148 version, and you can see that the front nose cowling is one piece. So that kind of solves the issue I had completely. But yeah, looking at the instructions for that one, it goes together exactly the same as that. Pretty much identical, just bigger. So that'll be nice. I'll do a review on that. I might even do a build video. We'll see. We'll see how much time I've got. So yeah, other than that issue, that it's all fine. Tamiya kits really are lovely, and I've built 2 so far. I've built the Supermarine Spitfire Mark V, and also this. And the Spitfire was an older kit, and the only issue I had with that were the decals. The decals on this version were really lovely. I think they're cartograph. They were a lot thinner, and they went down really nicely. This took me about a week to build, just doing it kind of evenings and weekends. I tried the mottling camo, which I was a bit worried about because, you know, on a 172 scale, it's not the easiest to do, to pull off, but I got there. We'll talk about painting in just a second. The cockpit had a lot of nice detail as standard. You got a little decal there for the harness, which you just about see. There is a decal in there for the instrument panel, but you can't really see it because the canopy's closed. And I forgot that I was going to have the canopy open, and then I glued it down, not with PVA, with thin cement, and kind of thought, well, I don't really want to pull that up and potentially damage anything, so I kind of left it as is. But yeah, she is, the thingy rotates, the propeller thingy. It's a propeller, Dan, not a thingy. So that rotates. So let's talk about the paint then. So I used Vallejo Modeler to do all the paint work. I did prime this one. I don't always use primer, but I thought I'd do this one properly. And I used this MIG one-shot primer, which goes on so nicely. And you can spray this directly from the bottle, doesn't need thinning. I sprayed it at around about 20 psi, maybe a bit higher, 22 psi, something like that. Goes on really nicely. It does need a day or so to cure, because I found on my Hurricane, the FX Hurricane that I painted previously using the same primer, I was masking the wings, and when I pulled the masking tape off, it pulled up a load of paint. Now I was using a different masking tape. I was using Vallejo masking tape, whereas I usually use Tamiya. So I think it was a mixture of the masking tape was too sticky and I had not let the primer cure. So once I've got the primer down, I do all my pre-shading, which is just black, Vallejo black over the panel lines, both top and bottom. And then I start doing the base colors. So you've got this lovely kind of light blue color on the bottom. And actually, the light blue color goes all the way up to just underneath the canopy on the side of the aircraft too, and the wheels as well. So let's talk about the paints I used. So these are the paints I used. Don't know if you're able to see this at this angle, but I'll try and angle them so you can actually see what I'm talking about. So again, we had light blue for the underneath and the sides. Just clicking my fingers. Then we had this grey, and that was for the wheel wells and undercarriage. So if I show you, try to be gentle with the model. Zoom in again. So you can see that's the grey, which is kind of a greeny grey in there really, and the undercarriage as well is the same colour. And at the back there, the tail wheel. And I think the interior was that colour as well, I can't remember, or is it grey? Can't remember, if I'm honest, at this point, and I can't see what colour it is in there. Can you see? You probably can't see. Anyway. So that was that, and then we had the grey-green RLM 74 and grey-violet RLM 75 make up the kind of camo pattern on the top half of the aircraft and the wings. It looks quite dark to me. I've seen some other models where the grey and the green seem a lot lighter, so I don't know whether or not this is just Vallejo's kind of interpretation of those colours, but yeah, that's what I've used. I actually did, so like I said, I did the primer, pre-shading, then the base coat for each colour. And then what I do is I post-shade each colour individually. So I airbrush the grey parts on, only where there's grey, then I do the green, and then I post-shade. So I just add a bit of white to each colour, and then just kind of spray in the middle of the panels, just to give the impression that there's some variation in tone or a bit of wear and tear, I guess. I just think it makes it a bit more interesting to look at. I'm by no means an expert, you know, like I've only been really modelling for 6 weeks after a long break. And this is kind of the furthest I've progressed with modelling, so to speak, in my life. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and kits like this make it such a joy, the hobby a joy to kind of undertake, shall we say. What else do we use? Then we use black green, this one here, RLM 70, is that 70? Yep, and that's for the prop and the spinner. So it may look like they're black, but they're actually this really dark green. And I also did a bit of kind of pre-shading with those. So I sprayed a bit of black just at the base of the spinner there and at the base of the propellers, kind of in the centre, before I added the metal colour there. And talking of metal colour, so all these little metal bits, so the guns, this kind of, I guess that's kind of some kind of pitot sensor thing, that was painted with a really old paint which I've had for about 10 years. It's a Games Workshop colour. Come on, focus. Bulk gun metal. I don't even think they do this anymore, do they? But yeah, you can see this is a really old paint jar, because the new ones look like this. These are the new paint pots. But anyway, and then for the yellow I just used RLM 04, which is just called yellow. I actually bought the RLM set from Vallejo, which was about £35, and you get all of the RLM colours, or quite a lot of them anyway. Like I said, it took about a week to do. I used an Iwata Revolution CR airbrush. I've had it for years. I've had it for like 8-9 years, I think. And yeah. So weathering was fairly minimal, to be honest. I just used some Tamiya Weathering Master just on the underside there. I actually forgot to put in the gun kind of smoke because I didn't have a black one. I only had like this oil stain colour, and I didn't want to do that for the gun. So if I get a black one, I'll do that at a later date. But hopefully on the bottom there you can see where I've post shaded as well as pre shaded on the blue. Just kind of breaks up the monotony of the flat colour. Just to kind of go back to what I was saying. So this is the Weathering Master I used. And I used the oil stain colour, which is kind of, it looks quite, it's basically brown. And you just sponge it on, use the spongy bit, and then brush it off, or that's used to kind of smooth the effect, which is quite nice. When this arrived, my girlfriend was like, are you going to start wearing makeup? And I had to explain, no, it's for my models. Oh, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. So, talking about the paint again. So, primer, pre-shading, the base colours, post-shading. Seal that all in with some Johnson's Clear, or they call it Pledge nowadays. And then we do the panel line wash, and I use Flory Models Dark Dirt. You can use like oils, or I have some other stuff. I have MIG Products Panel Line Wash. But I like this one because it's water-based, and I find it just a lot easier to work with. And I did a video about how to use this actually, so if you check the card in the corner there, that will show you how to use this, or how I use it, I should say. But yeah. Then once I've done the panel lines, I wipe all that off, seal it in with another lot of Pledge or Johnson's Clear. The mottling was something I've not tried before on a model, and I was really worried about it actually cocking it up completely, but it actually came out okay. It's quite soft, and you know, but it's a 1/72 scale aircraft, so it's not the easiest to do. Oh, come on, so awkward. All I did for that was with whichever colour I used, I just thinned it a little bit more than usual, dropped the PSI to about 15, I think it was, and just was very, very careful, shall we say. I did fluff a few of them up, and I had to kind of go back around it with the blue, but it came out okay. And actually, I think the one I fluffed up was underneath the big decal there, so it doesn't really matter. So yeah, that's it really. An excellent kit. I can highly recommend this, and I wouldn't say it's like too advanced. If you can do an Airfix kit, you could do this, no problem. And yeah, it's typical Tamiya really, or Tamiya. I used to call it Tamiya, but now everyone calls it Tamiya, so yeah. That's what happens when you leave the hobby for 10 years. Everything about it was really nice. I can't really complain. Just watch for the cowl. Don't make the same mistake I did. Decals, I use Micro Sol once I've put them down, just to help conform to the surface of the model. I did buy some Mark Fit Strong, but that started to eat away at the varnish, so I used it on that decal and then immediately kind of realised, well, I better not use it anywhere else. But actually you can't see that there's any issue there, so I don't think anyway. I mean, I guess the decals are quite thick because you can see the edge there, but I could have sanded that down, but I'm not really there with my modelling confidence yet. I didn't want to start sanding it down and then lose a load of paint, you know. So, but I'm happy how it came out. But if you have any questions about this build, or there's any techniques you want me to show you, you know, I'm not an expert. I've only been doing this really for about 6 weeks. I've done stuff before years ago, but I never really got anywhere with my modelling skills. But if there's anything you want to see in particular, let me know in the comments and I'll see if I can make a video about it. I'm going to do a full build video at some point. I just need to get a bit more space, some better lighting, So I'm waiting for a light to turn up next week, and then maybe we'll see. I've got 14 kits to build, so I'm sure one of those I can do a full build review, see how that goes down with you guys, and if it's popular, I'll do a bit more. But if not, you know, let me know what you want to see, that kind of stuff. And thank you for watching this video. And until next time, happy modelling.